such an important topic now, the professional situation of women during the pandemic. Here to talk about it, please welcome Olga Kozierowska, President of Pisany, Szminką. It's a foundation, if you translate it loosely, Success, written in lipstick, isn't it? And Radoslaw Chłodowicz, talent brand lead at Accenture. Welcome, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad we can hear one another. Beautiful smiles at the beginning of our discussion. That bodes well for the conversation, doesn't it? So let me start with the obvious. How has the pandemic influenced the situation of women on the job market?
So I think I can hear somebody from a studio, just a short notice. So I can hear you better. I will start, that's how we decided with Radek, as we conducted two researches lately, and one was in general basically checking how women are feeling in business and working in corporations. And the latest one was only about female entrepreneurs. So I will start with the last one, and the situation is not as bad as we thought it would be, because of course 60% of women entrepreneurs, and I'm talking about small and medium enterprises, they felt drop in revenues, but 40% felt increase in revenues, and those 40% of women, they switched their business and used a lot of online tools, or they even switched the whole business into online business. So they really felt and experienced advantage of that, and of course they felt a lot of stress, and they were working 11 to 16 hours a day. So that's really a lot. And the problem I see, which is quite huge, and it was mentioned as well in the previous discussion, that there is no equality at home. So, for example, during lockdown, women were working from home and men were working from home, but men thought, okay, I'm at work, so do the household duties.
Olga, you can't pull any equality at home if at least one of you is working 16 hours a day. It's logically impossible, is it?
Problem, because even if we look at this problem from the love side, let's do it romantic way. I mean, if I love somebody, I don't want somebody to suffer. I don't want somebody to work 16 hours a day. I don't want somebody to die, in 5 years of cancer because somebody is really only meeting deadlines or is overloaded with work. I mean, this is a huge problem in Poland, and I believe that there will be there'll be no equality in business without equality at home. It's not possible, because then we have women without energy competing with men and facing a lot of problems with stress. When you are tired, you are less competitive, you are less creative. So the business cannot really use talents and benefit from talents.
I'm sure everyone agrees with you on that.
I hear myself with the echo, and I cannot really concentrate. So I hope it was you could hear it well.
We could very well without the echo somehow, so thank you for that. And what you've touched on, if you could turn the volume a little bit, Olga, maybe this would help. What you've touched on, there are a lot of aspects to it, of course. Some of them are more than equality, really, at work or sharing roles at home. It's more about psychological issues, isn't it? It's about addictions of at least one person in a relationship, misunderstanding priorities. I mean, it's hard to tell someone your in life should be this instead of what you actually believe to be your priority. But I believe there's a place where it becomes an illness. That's why we talk so much about mental health aspects in this conversation. Radoslaw, I started by asking you both, how has the pandemic influenced the situation of women on the job market? Of course, the more fair way to ask the question would be, has it?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Our survey findings confirm that the pandemic has had a negative impact on most people, but women have been hit harder across countries, age groups, and lifestyle indicators. I'm referring to a global report published this spring that Accenture prepared in collaboration with the W20 group. And the report shows, for example, that, as Olga said, women have seen their earnings decline almost 2/3 more sharply than men. What's more, among those respondents in employment when the pandemic struck, 5% of the women are now unemployed, compared with just 2.8% of the men. And there are, of course, other conclusions from outside the area directly related to the labor market, such as it turned out that mothers are spending an additional 1 hour and 20 minutes per day on childcare. And this is an increase of 29%. Half of the women, that this is something interesting, say levels of tension and stress in their household are high, up from 15% pre-pandemic. So the sad truth is that women experienced negative effects of the pandemic more than men, and not only in the area of their careers, what Olga and you just said.
Radoslaw, it sounds like, I know your project with the foundation is still in progress. You haven't completed it, have you? But I certainly hope that all of our audience listening to you now would be very much interested in at least the infographic aspects of your research, find out all those statistics, because some of those figures are very significant at this stage already, and a lot of conclusions can be drawn from those statistics. But let me address another question to you. This situation of the pandemic affecting the context of our conversation, I'm sure there are both barriers and opportunities to it. Can we discuss those separately? And can we look at opportunities for a change, something optimistic perhaps?
Well, if I may, this report I mentioned before is entitled "If Not Now, When?" And we consider it as an opportunity right now to change the situation in long-term view. I mean, the pandemic has shown, for example, that we can work from a distance as effectively as from the office. And I have the impression that it was a breakthrough for many employers. So maybe it's worth going further now and, for example, making working hours more flexible where possible. What was just said in the debate before ours. Perhaps we have an opportunity to change and adapt our work culture to a new way, to the situation and expectations of our employees right now, nowadays. For example, maybe the principle that networking meetings with leaders are organized during working hours only, not late in the evening. And there are many, many aspects that need to be considered and implemented nowadays.
And I certainly hope you will be communicating the outcomes of your research very broadly, because I believe it's very important research, actually. Olga, would you like to comment on the opportunity area?
Yeah,
Because
I believe that we are still sort of working in an old system, old framework, old business framework, old business culture. This culture and the framework was created hundreds years ago. And this is the effect of kind of history. We cannot discuss it. So women were not present those days when this framework was created. So I really believe that pandemia, as Radek mentioned, offered us a benefit as of flexible working hours, working from home, and as well not doing business after hours. And I believe as well that the young generations are changing this system. They don't want hierarchy. They want to work together. They want to work on projects. They don't want to just stay at work because it's the seventh hour of a working day, and the project is over, and you just have to stay there because maybe somebody will need you. And
you need to punch your card, right?
Yes. So I really believe that what we have to today, we have to do today or tomorrow or starting today and focus tomorrow is changing the framework, and changing a framework in business and changing the framework at home. Because if we want to use talents of both sexes, we need to offer them flexible time and the framework which is suitable for both, not only for one.
There is a consequence of what you're saying, of course, because we are now looking at this topic. If the pandemic was a catalyst for processes that have not changed for a very long time, and they actually needed a catalyst for change to happen. And what your comments are telling is that there will be specific consequences of these things happening, both for employees and managers. Can you touch on those, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard half of your sentence.
Okay, I will take this, Olga. Above all, employers should place emphasis on building an inclusive and open work environment. We call it a culture of equality, especially during pandemic, when we need to see the background and individual situation of each our employer, her or she, or he. If this was translated into more specific actions, employers should, for example, let both parents be parent, actually. So improve parental leave policies and make sure everyone is encouraged to use them, mother and father, and etc. Or send the right reinforcements. I mean, provide women-specific support like mentors, sponsors, and employee resource networks, which could really help and empower women on their positions. In a study published in 2019, Accenture identified 40 factors that characterize a culture of equality that every organization can identify and try to implement from different areas like comprehensive actions through empowering environment to bold leadership, which is really crucial nowadays to have this kind of leaders in our organizations.
Thank you, Radoslaw. Can I ask you one quick question? Because believe it or not, 15 minutes is already over. So I need to ask you a quick last question. Can the trends that we talk about here in this conversation be considered sustainable? Can you try and give a yes or no type of answer to that?
We shall see. As you mentioned, we plan the common with Olga and her fantastic team research this January, and we will see if Polish market will follow these trends, with global trends, and these researchers that Olga mentioned about entrepreneurs, women who run her own business.
I as well see a huge opportunity in working with corporations, as we do with Radek. Our foundation has initiated a club called Champions of Change, and we really do a lot of things in order to change situation for women and men, parents and not parents, and single people, especially in this area. So really fighting for equality.
Olga, allow me to congratulate you also, because it appears to me that you're conducting a whole lot of fantastic initiatives, all of them parallel, and all of them have a very important impact on the actual sustainability of the things we are talking about here. So congratulations again. And Radoslaw,
Thank you.
congratulations on very interesting research, and wish you success with finalizing and spreading the message. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Radoslaw, Talent Brand Lead Accenture, Olga Kozierowska, President at Sukces, Pisany, Szminką. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Good day.
You too.